one. Okay.
Good afternoon. I'm Marie from Mercy Med, and today is the second session for our diabetic education. And today I'd like to kind of talk about two things: reading the food label, and also about carbohydrates, because that's been a big concern to a lot of my diabetics. So the first thing I'm going to work on is the food label. And if you look on the side of your packages, and I don't know if you can see this, but there's a food label, and I can bring it in a little bit closer. But the food label will kind of give us a lot of information. It's going to tell us the serving size. It's going to tell us the calories. It's going to tell us the calories and percentage for fats. It's also going to tell us about cholesterol, sodium, which would do with salt, total carbohydrates, and it'll be broken down furthermore into fiber and sugars as well as protein. And then at the bottom, sometimes you will see where it'll have some of the vitamins and minerals and percentages of the RDA. So it's always a good idea to read your label so that you can see a serving. So for example, this particular package, which is just a quick and easy rice, has 210 calories per serving, and you'll see that one serving is 1 cup. But if you look down a little bit further on this one, you're going to see that it has no fat, so that's really good. It has no cholesterol, very good. The sodium, I think it says no sodium, so it doesn't have any salt. And then it has 49 grams of carbohydrate and 1 dietary fiber. So it doesn't have a whole lot of fiber, so we see that. And then if I was to take and to compare that to another package, which is, I just picked it up at the local store, is a bean and burrito rice mix. If you look at the back here, and I'm going to move just a little bit closer so we can see it.
And Diane is watching, and she said that she's here to learn how to eat better today, even though she's not a diabetic.
Okay.
She wants to know if that's okay if she joins in to eat better.
Please. This has 210 calories, so the serving size is both 210 calories. This one has 5% of, or 4 grams of total fat. It has like a 1/2 gram of a saturated fat and no trans fat. So it has a little fat, no cholesterol. It does have some sodium. So now if you're hypertensive, you do have to watch, but it has 320 milligrams. Typically for our heart failure, hypertensives and all, we'll say to keep the sodium total down to less than 2,000 milligrams or 2 grams, and usually you'll see everything in milligrams. So as long as you're doing less than 2,000 in a day, that's usually good. And then it talks about carbohydrates, and it says that it has 45. And then as you look a little bit further down, you're going to see 13 grams of fiber. And what's good about that is we think about a term we use as the glycemic index, and that's where we talk about carbohydrates and fiber. Fiber helps us stay full quicker, and by staying full, we're not as hungry, and therefore it helps us with our appetite. But fiber will also help us because it helps with helping to prevent our blood sugar levels from rising as quickly. So anytime you have fiber, it's a good thing. So that will make your glycemic index down. And then it has total sugars of 2. And this whole package is a serving size. So if you were going to choose between these two, this one would actually probably be better for your diabetes because of the fiber that's in it.
Or really better for anyone, right?
Yeah, it's actually better. And then it does also have some of the their vitamins and minerals at the thing. So noting what's in the packages and the serving sizes, because serving sizes can really change. And
So would those be like a side dish then?
Yes.
Like basically you're choosing between two side dishes?
Yes, yes. And then I wanted to show you guys that we're always preaching. One of the things that we do with the healthy plate, I don't know if any of you have ever seen it, where we'll say half your plate should be your fruit, should be your vegetables, fill up. You may do a small serving of your fresh fruit, and then we say we have your starch and then your protein on the other half. So the reason why we really push the vegetables is they're full of vitamin minerals, they're low calorie, and they have fiber. And there's many forms you can use. When they're in season, go for the fresh. And we've been really blessed with Keith and the market out there. If anybody is having trouble having food or something, let us know. We might be able to help. There's also frozen vegetables that are very good, especially if they don't have the sauces on them. And then some of the canned ones. And like, for example, this is, I just took a generic can of green beans and I looked at it. And so for a half a cup,
so this could be a side dish as well?
Yeah, and this whole can has 3.5 servings in it, just to let you know. But a serving only has 15 calories, so not many calories. Very good. You could probably eat the whole can if you're doing if you did a can of this. This would be less than 60 calories for the whole can. So if somebody's hungry and trying to cut back their calories, vegetables are really good. You'll see that it has no fat, no cholesterol. Now this one does have some sodium because it's canned, but one of the ways you can help reduce the sodium is by rinsing in like a colander. Rinse it off, and that will help get rid of some of the sodium there. It has 3 grams of total carbohydrates, 1 gram of which is fiber. So this really won't raise your blood sugar as much as say as the rice. And like I said, I just bought a couple of different ones. Now this has some mixed ones. This has tomatoes, okra, and corn. Now corn is a more starchy vegetable, but the tomatoes and okra aren't. And if you look at the back of this label, you'll see that a serving size is a half a cup. And then for every half cup, there's 40 calories. Again, there's no fats there, so that's very good. No cholesterol. The total carbohydrates are 9 grams, and it has 2 grams of dietary fiber. And it has, and it actually does have 1 gram of protein.
A little tiny protein.
So it does have it, and then that tells you about the thing. So this just gives you a couple of different possibilities when you're doing side dishes and all. And we really do encourage that. And then I went with, because sometimes we try to think of different things, and I like Greek yogurt, the Greek yogurt in the morning, and so that's got like the dairy. This has already got fruit in it, although you can get it without. And just to let you know on the serving size, so this whole thing is 1 serving, and it would have about 80 calories. And then what does this tell us? It says that the 0 total fat, it has no trans fats, it has 10 grams of cholesterol, it does have some sodium, but it's only 55 milligrams, remember, so 55 is not much out of your 2,000 daily. And then the total carbs are 9 grams. And it has, but it has no fiber, so that's not good. But it does have 7 grams of sugar. So they added some sugar with the with the strawberry and the sweetener, but it artificial sweetener, but it has 12 grams of protein, so it's very good for protein. So just to let you know that when we say that we have to watch our carbohydrates and portions of it, you will have to have some carbohydrates in your diet.
And so Tammy's question was, how do you figure out how many carbohydrates you should eat in one day?
Okay. And so what we would say is we'll start with usually, and I've got a little, I don't know if this is one they can see, but they'll say one carbohydrate choice is 15 grams. So that just
so this is the Diabetic Exchange?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so this is, and is the Diabetic Exchange, is that a diet that anyone can use, or?
Yeah, the diabetic diet's very healthy. It'll help with weight loss or maintenance. It helps with low cholesterol. It's a good overall diet. The only thing I would say is if you have renal disease, it's a good diet, but you have to check with them as far as some of the potassiums and things like that.
So check with your doctor, basically.
Yeah, if that was it.
But Diabetic Exchange, they can get that just anywhere on the internet, from the clinic.
Sure, and if they let me know, I have some sources that we can help them with.
And I've seen Diabetic Exchange diet listed on packaging. Is it often on the label?
Sometimes we have the carbohydrate source.
Okay.
So that's there. Some sources will, some don't.
Oh, interesting.
But
okay.
everything should have. But it's a law that they have. Everybody has has the food label. So you should see food labels on everything. Sometimes it will say this is equal to so many
for diabetics,
but not everyone does.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so this is the Exchange diet.
Okay, so one carbohydrate choice is 15 grams. So if you read the label, you can see how many grams it is, okay? And some of the, some examples would be a third cup of cooked rice or one slice of bread, and that's a 1 ounce, or one small piece of fruit, or a half cup of fruit juice.
So that's one serving of carbohydrate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or they have an 8-ounce cup of milk or 2/3 cup of low-fat yogurt. So just know that that's a carbohydrate. Now, 2 carbohydrate choices would be 30 grams, and that would be like 2/3 cup of rice or 2 slices of bread, a large banana, or a cup of fruit juice. And then they have a 3-gram choice, which would be a whole cup of rice, a medium-sized bagel, or a small piece of fruit, and 2 slices of bread. So the number of carbohydrates that you eat at a meal kind of goes with your calorie intake. Generally speaking, women have smaller amounts of calories that we need because we're not usually as tall as the gentlemen are, and if we're trying to reduce weight, we will sometimes reduce our calorie intake and increase our activity for that. Does that make sense?
So on a 2,000 calorie diet, which is kind of average,
Male, that's a little bit much for a female.
So for a female, you would say what, 1,700 calories about?
Well,
here we go.
I'm so sorry.
There's perfect.
It says creating your meal plan. So this one is for weight loss, over here to this side. So for women, it would be 2 to 3 carb choices
per meal,
which would be 30 to 45 grams per meal.
Per meal.
So that would be breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Okay.
And then for men, good weight, and you're not trying to weight lose, but just trying to maintain control of diabetes, then for a woman, it would be 3 to 4 carb choices, which would be 45 to 60 grams a meal. So that's the 3 meals a day. And for a gentleman, it would be 4 to 5 carb choices, or 60 to 75.
This is per meal, with
per
like 3 meals per day.
Yes, that's 3 meals per day. And then they have, if you want a snack, so sometimes we'll say, especially we used to say in the hospital, we would have patients that would do 3 meals a day and a bedtime snack, because when they had their insulin, that does not necessarily do for that. But if you've got a snack, then a carb 15 gram per snack would be for both of them.
Okay, and unfortunately our video paused for just a moment. So just to recap, this is per meal for the women, something between 30 to 45 grams of carbohydrates.
That's correct.
Or if they want to maintain where they're at, 40 to 60 grams of carbohydrates.
That's correct.
Oh, how interesting. Okay, great.
So, and the reason we we talk about carbohydrates first is because carbohydrates break down into glucose, and glucose has to do with our blood sugars being elevated, and that's when with diabetes or pre-diabetes, part of the problem is we either don't have enough insulin or the insulin's not as effective. I'm just going with like the type 2s and not so much with the children or type 1s who don't make insulin. So that's why it's very important for us to make sure that we're spacing out our carbohydrates and that we're measuring and we're trying to find the ones that are best. So when we say portion control is a big one, and that's where we get the serving sizes. So you will never be a no carbohydrate. It's just picking the best carbohydrates because you have to eat to live.
Good, and that works for people who want to maintain or lose weight as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then the next thing it was talking about on this one was about fiber. And fiber's really important. The reason it's important...
the example is broccoli.
Well, it's not the only one, but it comes from plants and vegetables, fruits and grains, nuts, beans, and lentils. And it provides calories, but it also adds bulk to your meals, and it keeps you regular. So if you have trouble with constipation, fiber will help make things more move through quicker. And there's basically two types of fiber. One fiber is more the non-soluble, and you would think about things like maybe shredded wheat and have corn, things like that move through, maybe an orange or grapefruit, how you can see the fiber in it. So those would be the non-soluble. The soluble fibers would be like your oatmeal. This would be a soluble fiber.
Okay.
And those are good. The fibers are also good for cholesterol control. So they help with your cholesterol. They also bowel regularity, and it does make you fuller. So when you're trying to lose weight and diet, putting more fiber in your diet will keep you full longer, and that'll help you so that you're not getting as hungry. And that's one reason why a lot of times I'll say to eat your fruit and don't drink it. The only exception would be is if you're very low blood sugar and you're trying to get it up quick, then sure enough you can take a little bit of orange juice or juice to take and get it up. But if you eat that orange as opposed to it, it's going to stay with you longer. It's going to also, because of that fiber, it's not going to raise your blood sugar up as quick as high. It's going to make it more steady.
And speaking of keeping your blood sugar steady, so Tammy's been told to eat 5 small meals a day, which ends up being like 5 snacks. Okay. Should she actually just eat 3 meals a day and 1 snack?
How much, it depends on exactly. If she's eating 5 small, then what we need to do then probably is do this, is spread out her carb choices throughout the day. Don't eat them all at once. If she does a meal or a snack every 3 to 4 hours, that's okay. So what she may want to do is, like, say for breakfast, I don't know what she likes to eat for breakfast, but let's say she eats a boiled egg and a piece of toast and drinks a cup of coffee, then that would give her 1 carbohydrate choice for that. And then maybe for her snack, I don't know if she does a mid-morning.
Yeah,
She
so
could do like a yogurt.
she said with eating 5 small meals a day, she feels like every time she eats, it's not much more than a snack.
Okay. Is she eating some fiber?
I guess that's the question. She'll have to let us know how her fiber intake is.
Into fiber, and then the other thing too
Does the spacing make a big impact on blood sugar?
Well,
is it better to just do a tiny bit 5 times a day, or to have something a little bit more substantial 3 times?
Okay, and a lot of this depends on if you're on insulin and diabetes pills. But the biggest thing is you need to have consistency. And what I would say is monitor your blood sugars to see where they're at.
She said she's not big on fiber, so her exact words are, "I'm a bad eater." Oh
boy,
bless her.
Well, and there's some fibers that are better than others, and they taste better. It's just a matter of trying to find the things that you like.
I wonder, from what we have on the table, I wonder which one has the most fiber. I would love to get everybody's guesses real quick.
Okay.
If you turn the oatmeal around in the so I would think it would be fun to find out from the audience, like, of these things, which one people think has the most fiber, and then later on we should look at the label and see which one has the most fiber. So there was that one side dish right there behind. That one should be in the running too.
This one. Oh, this one.
Yeah. So we got that one. So we've either got, so the choices are the beans and brown rice burrito bowl, the oats, the refried beans, the rice, the yogurt, the vegetables, or the tuna. And we'll have to try to see if people want to guess which one has the most fiber. And then we'll have to figure that out in a second. So tell us again, so what do we do if we don't like high fiber foods? And
well, every food has some fiber. So it's a matter, what I would say is try to stay away from the processed foods and try to go more towards things the way that it comes from the ground or the other. When she says high fiber, she doesn't like. Does she like vegetables? Or
I don't know.
fruits?
She guessed the beans and rice bowl, so we'll find out later and see if that one has the most fiber of everything on the table.
That has fiber in it.
So we'll have to see.
So and I think this even had. Did this have some fiber? I can't remember. Let me look.
It might have had
a little bit. Let me see.
It's funny to think what does and what doesn't.
Yeah. So,
Tammy says she likes the fresh veggies.
Okay, well, veggies have fiber.
That's good.
So that is real, and so does fruit. Now you just have to be careful. I mean, I don't know if she likes to eat an apple or a strawberry or a blueberry.
Which ones are the better fruits for diabetics?
The ones that have the lowest glycemic index are probably your blueberries, your strawberries when they're in season. The one that's the highest is likely your watermelon.
Really? Oh.
And then the ones that are intermediate that are good for you too would be like your apples, your pears, then you would have your oranges. I don't usually say grapefruit because I have some of my people that are on cholesterol medicine, so
you have to be careful.
I just take that one out.
I heard that bananas are like the highest.
They're pretty high
in sugar,
but they will make your blood sugars go up.
So try to stick more with the berries then. It sounds like the berries.
A serving for a banana is about a half of one.
Really?
Yeah. And
there's no way I'm eating half a banana. No way. Once you peel that banana, it's all gone.
That's true.
There's no return.
And I would say too is drink some water throughout the day. Stay hydrated. That'll help make you feel fuller too. It'll help with regularity. And that's usually just overall a better thing. Now, if you have heart failure, then you got to stay within your 6 to 8 cups a day. But still, that most of us don't drink that.
Yeah. All right. Diane guessed the beans. So right now it's a running between the burrito bowl and the beans. Should we figure out who guessed? Let's see who won the fiber quiz.
So for dietary fiber is 7 grams in this.
All right, 7 grams of fiber per a half a cup.
Yes. And this has 13 grams in here.
Oh, but how many?
That's one serving.
One serving, one package.
Mm-hmm.
How many? It was 13 grams of fiber?
Yeah.
Goodness, that seems like that's a good bit.
And then this one just has 4
but
grams.
if you doubled the beans now, if we just did it, so this is 227 grams versus 130 grams. So if you doubled the beans, they might edge it out because they would be 14 grams of fiber.
Yeah.
So basically between those two. So did they pretty much guess it? Yeah, they did, because look, the oats is just 4 grams in a half cup serving. So interesting. So I would say Diane and Tammy definitely picked out pretty much equal between the beans and the burrito bowl.
And so that's another thing too. If you are having trouble or trying to make your dollar stretch, you can get some of the dry beans, and you can what I usually do is soak them overnight, then drain them, and then you can cook them during the day, and that makes it a little bit less expensive. And some people will even use a crock pot and do it. So that's a quick and easy, and stretches your dollar when you have
Do
family.
diabetics have to worry about the carbohydrates in the beans, or just make sure they count it in their daily intake?
It's part of it. And then like for this particular one, a serving has 18 grams, so that would be, we'll say, almost like one carbohydrate serving.
I see. Okay.
Because we said 15 grams is a carbohydrate. So
correct.
So we'll say one serving would be about one serving, maybe a little bit more. So you do have to watch it, but just remember that's a half a cup.
Got it. Okay, so here, this would be all of your carbohydrates for that meal.
Yeah, because that says
so
one
the bowl,
serving,
that's all the carbohydrates you get at that particular sitting.
Yes.
So you don't get to add in tortillas or chips or no queso dip. Okay.
And see, those are the things that typically will add a little bit more. If you're doing the crackers, if you're doing, like you said, the tortillas or the chips or the pretzels, I will never say never, but just remember those are carbohydrates. And popcorn, although some of them are a little less than others. Like I think popcorn is a little bit less than the others, and probably, unless you put stuff on it, would have less. Now, if it's the pre-packaged that's oiled and everything, it has a little bit more. You have to read the label.
So do we have to read labels on everything to figure out servings, or are there other ways to figure out servings?
Well, now, if you're coming from a package, then yes, you should read that. But there are some other things that we can do to read, to get some serving sizes. Like, for example, if you don't have a half a cup and you're trying to think, I'm getting a scoop of mashed potatoes, or I'm going to get a scoop of macaroni and cheese, and I'm not saying that's it, you can figure that a serving size is about the size of a ice cream scoop. So that gives you an idea of that. And then if I'm looking for a serving size for like meat, they used to say your palm, but another thing you could say is either a deck of cards or a bar of soap. And you can see where that would get that. So that would be a serving size for meat. Then, and let's see if I've got another one that might.
Okay, so like this can of tuna, is that like one serving? Like you eat the whole can?
Well, it says serving size is 1 can drained.
Oh, okay.
So you have to look, and you have to be careful with some of the snack foods, because if you go into Dollar General and you say, oh boy, I want something quick, I'm on the road, and they have like, say, a pack, and it's really small, and it has like raisins, peanuts, and maybe a chocolate
trail mix.
So you know what I'm saying, and it's really small, it's not very big, but and it looks like, if you looked at calories, it's fairly not too bad.
Yeah.
But when you read the label, it says it's got 5 servings.
5 servings?
And it's not 5 servings.
I can't even measure a fifth of that.
No, but you know what I'm saying. So read the labels to see what they call
No, once that's open, it's gone, especially the chocolate.
I'm telling you. So read the labels, because that's where it can be a little bit off. And so there's different ones that would be good. And then I was trying to think, but I do have there are some foods that are what we call combination foods. Like for example, this had protein and carbohydrate. So you do have some, and I think it was the I'm gonna call it succotash, but the tomatoes, okra, and corn had some protein in it too. So we do have some, like if you do a soup, now that may have salt, so you have to look at that. But that carbon combination, you could take a cup of soup, and it's usually got one carbohydrate serving. So that's something too. If you're a little bit hungry, you could try doing like a cup of soup that's got something in it with some vegetables or one that you like, and that's usually one serving of carbohydrate. Um, they've got a 3 carbohydrate choices would be like a bean and beef burrito. Or a frozen dinner meal. Now the thing, there's good and bad things about the frozen meals. They're convenient, like if you're working and going and things like that. They have serving sizes. But just
like they expect you to eat just part of it?
What they're saying is with the TV dinner, that's the whole thing.
Oh, okay, yes, that's all you get.
If you're looking at it, that's the serving size for the vegetable. Usually it's got some kind of a starch in the meat, and I know a lot of guys would not be very full with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's think of there's a little difference between some of our starchy vegetables and our non-starchy vegetables. The starchy vegetables tend to have a little bit more of a carbohydrate, and what they would be like your acorn or butternut squash.
Those have more carbohydrates?
It's a starchy vegetable.
Like potatoes get a bad rap.
Yeah, potato baked with skin. But I would say in that they called it about a 3-ounce potato. Now I've never actually measured it, so I'll have to see if I can do that to see exactly the size. But it says that you can eat a half a cup of a sweet potato or yam.
For one starch?
For starch. For starving starch.
That's one carb choice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So those are some things you could do. I've never done the plantain or is it cassava?
Cassava,
I'm sorry. So those would be starchy. And starchy, you just have to be a little bit more aware of that they can raise your blood sugar, but they also have some good points.
So you're saying lettuce is a free food? Eat all the lettuce you want?
It's free. And some of the other ones that are pretty good, and I don't know if you like them, but your bell peppers, your radishes, your cucumbers, but there's so many. Your tomatoes, whether they're stewed tomatoes and put in it, you can do those. Your greens, your collards.
So everybody gets unlimited salad?
Your cauliflower. So, and I'm probably not all exclusive or inclusive, but there's a bunch that are really good. And like I said, when you're thinking about a carbohydrate thing, you just really have to think about it over the day and try to just remember to kind of space it. And the other thing is a good way, if you really are, say it's a birthday, we're gonna have a slice of cake for a birthday. This is life. So make better choices the rest of the day. Eat your slice of birthday cake, and then maybe take a little walk or something like that. And that will help burn off some of those extra sugars that are there. And I said birthday cake because usually there's icing involved and all, and those are usually carbohydrates that are not as good. They give us calories, but they don't give us a lot of nutrients. And whereas these foods are what we would call nutrient dense, which means they give us more bang for our buck. If that makes sense.
So you get more done with those vegetables.
Yes. and I will see if I have. They do have some guides that you can do where you can kind of make up like a meal plan.
Okay.
And so you can just kind of put in what you're trying to do. So this one has like, say this is breakfast, and this one had snack, lunch, and different things.
Okay,
like
so these are the components.
yeah.
So you want your carbohydrates, your non-starchy vegetables, your meats, and your fats.
Mm-hmm. And remember too that sometimes your protein, or it says meat substitute, remember that can be your low fat or non-fat dairy that you can put in there.
Oh, like the yogurt. That could be your protein.
Yeah, that could be a protein. Or another meat substitute. Sometimes people will put in their like a little bit of peanut butter.
Well, that would be your protein and your fat.
Mm-hmm. It would. A lot of things come together in different things. I'm thinking tofu is one that's a meat substitute. Egg is a pure protein. Now it does have some fat or cholesterol, but and so that's one thing you can do. Cheeses kind of go in. It has some carbohydrate. You can go for the lesser fat. But it also has protein.
So someday when you can meet with our diabetics in person, you'll help with making meal plans, right?
I can surely do
Everybody
that.
can do it together.
We can do it together because everybody's goals will be a little bit different.
Do we have more of these handouts, or can they order these online?
What I can do is I have, and if you'll let me know that you want it, I have a thing that says ready, start counting. And it goes over carbohydrates. It's got some of the choices there. And it talks about serving sizes from common sources.
And you could potentially copy this this meal plan.
I would be glad to. And it even goes over our food label again if they need any help with that. And then over here has like a it's got a woman and a man, and it's got like a sample diet.
Oh, cool.
Now, we remember everybody's got different choices that they like or don't like. And, you know, different times of the year, certain things may be more abundantly available than others. But this is a lifetime thing. And there's no such thing as don't beat yourself up if one day maybe you didn't make as the best choices. We can start where we're at and we make better choices going on.
Okay, so will you have a couple of these at the front desk where people can pick them up?
I can do that. I would be glad to.
So just have a few up in the front.
Okay, and
in a folder.
I'll put them there, and we can make more. And if you guys have questions and would let me know, I will be glad to work on some more. I haven't done anything like on what do I want to say? I haven't done anything exactly on the medications or different things.
What does everybody want to know next?
Or if there's anything they need to know about some of the annual things that we should be checking on if we are diabetic, and some of the common problems that happen or that seem to go together with diabetes. So anything that I can do to help, or if your blood sugars, knowing the normal ranges and kind of how to interpret them. I found that one of the interesting things to do is to monitor your blood sugars different times. So say if you're doing it twice a day. So during the week, maybe one day you do it when you first get up before you've eaten. So you're looking at what we call a fasting blood sugar. So you're going to think back to what did you eat last night? Because what you ate last night is affecting your blood sugar this morning. And then maybe one day you'll do it 2 hours after lunch, and you'll think, how's my blood sugar going? Now just remember, fasting's going to be the lowest, and then you'll probably be a little bit elevated after 2 hours after eating, but it should be somewhere about 150, 180 coming back down, because you're having to break down what you've eaten.
And Tammy had a question. Are there some medications that can raise your blood sugar?
Oh yes, there are. One big one, and it's not all inclusive. would be like steroids, prednisone, and there are some people that are on it for quite some time.
Oh, prednisone?
Yeah. It's that's one of the side effects that they have. And other things that can affect it is genetics. So if mom and dad have diabetes, you probably have a
Higher
greater
risk.
chance of it. Sometimes diet and lifestyle. The older we get, and I'm getting there, and the less active we are, the more likely we are going to develop things with like weight gain, high blood pressure, and we can get pre-diabetes, and diabetes can come with it too.
Got it. All right. And I would love to know any other questions from the group. So if anybody has questions, you can also message us on our Facebook, our Mercy Med Facebook.
Please, and if you leave me some suggestions of things that really concern you, I would be glad to try to come up with that with our next one next month.
All right. Thank you so much, Marie. We appreciate you.
Thank you guys for coming and letting me talk with you.